Thunder's Mouth Theatre presents Am I Old Yet? A coming-of-age comedy podcast with a difference. Because the person who's coming of age is in her late 70s, so she's moving into her state of elderhood. Now this is the bumper edition of Season 7, which is the sequel to Season 6, in which Helen, our late 70s protagonist, discovers that she has some weird kind of superpowers. I've packaged all the episodes from the season into one giant file so that you can just listen and pause it whenever you like until you get to the end. I hope you enjoy it, because the next sequel, The Chosen One Part 3, is about to hit the airwaves. I'm sure it won't be long now. John says all the fuss seems to have died down. There's been nothing on the news for a couple of weeks now.
Well, that's good.
Yes, I'm sure we can get you home in a week or two.
A week or two? Oh,
sorry,
God.
But we have to be on the safe side. You do understand, don't you, Mom?
I guess so. So, what's new? Did you get Susie off to the airport okay?
Oh, yes, thank goodness. She's landed in Sydney, staying with Georgie.
Good.
A bit jet-lagged, but she's enjoying the sunshine. Is that a dog I can hear?
Oh, yes, it's my pal from the woods. We couldn't meet up for the last few days with all the rain, so she must have come to pick me up. Isn't that wonderful?
Lovely. Well, I'll let you get off. I take it it's dried up a bit.
Oh, it's a bit muddy still, but we'll have fun. Bye, darling. Thanks for calling. Love to John. Hello, hey doggy, where are you? Where have you got to? Are you playing hide and seek now?
Excuse me?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you there. Oh, my goodness. Good morning. It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
Yes, it is rather.
Can I help you?
Yes, possibly. I'm looking for my dog. Have you seen her? Large, brown, soppy eyes.
Oh, is she yours? Oh. Well, I heard her barking a little bit ago. She seems to have attached herself to me. I thought she was asking me to come out for a walk. I hope you don't mind.
Not at all. I'm glad she found someone she's enjoying walking with. Do you live here?
Oh, no, not at all. I've been staying with friends nearby, over that way, I'm just visiting here.
Oh, of course.
And you? Do you live near here?
Not really. I'm a visitor, just like you. Where is your home?
Well, originally from Australia, but I've lived in England for many years. How about you?
Well, I've lived in many places. Do you mind if I walk with you?
Oh, no.
Not at all. Your dog seems to insist on keeping me company, so I can hardly refuse if you don't mind, since it's your dog. Well, she's not so much mine as she lives with me.
Fair enough.
And does she have a name?
I just call her Dog. Not very flattering, is it?
Oh, yes. Her name is Hermes.
Hermes?
Yes, I know. Not a very popular name around here, is it? And it's usually thought of as a boy's name. But this time, she decided to be a girl.
This time? Okay. I know people do that, but I didn't know dogs did it too.
Isn't Hermes the messenger of the gods, the Greek gods? Oh, you know about that. Are you all right, Helen? Something bothering you? Now, don't tell me your name is Diana. Actually, yes, that is one of my names. Right. That's your Roman name, yes? Yes. And your Greek name is Artemis. You got me. Okay, So, what is a Greek deity doing here in a forest in the middle of England, Yorkshire if I'm not mistaken?
Well, you're not far off. We're actually in Lancashire.
But you haven't answered my question.
Oh, I get around quite a bit.
I think I may have met a couple of your relatives.
Oh, really?
Oh, don't act surprised. Look, this has been going on for long enough. I'm just an ordinary human who discovered some magical powers right after I meet these devious Greek women, one of them called Demeter, I presume, and her daughter, Sephi. In other words, the beautiful Persephone. I'm right, aren't I?
Oh, dear. Well, yes, you are right. That's my sister and her daughter.
Well, what's the game? What is the point of all this nonsense? All this changing the world and the way things grow? Why don't you do it yourself? Why do you have to involve me?
Well, that's the thing, you see. We don't have the power to do the stuff. We only have the power to gift it to you.
Oh, so you mean Zeus can't go around turning himself into a swan, raping young women with impunity? Stuff like that?
Oh, no. He can't do that anymore. Not at all.
So what brought about this change?
Well, it started to happen. We started to lose our ability to do whatever we wanted round when the creatures of the earth began to realize what we were up to. As soon as there was enough knowledge.
So when you say creatures, you don't just mean humans?
Oh, no, goodness me. Humans think they are the only ones who can think. Although, to be fair, pretty much every species thinks they're the only ones who've got the hang of it all.
So Douglas Adams wasn't so far out when he said it was mice who were in charge? Are you trying to tell me that there are other species who have imaginations, philosophies?
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, if you think of a pride of lions, for example, and the available food in their region, their territory is beginning to die off or move away. Why do you think they've moved away?
Don't want to get eaten by lions?
Well, they never want to get eaten by a lion, but what they want is to live somewhere that's reasonably pleasant, has a decent supply of food for themselves and their families, live a comfortable life. Isn't that what everybody wants?
A comfortable life.
If they have no imagination to consider that there might be somewhere more comfortable somewhere else, they would just stay where they are and die off. Instead of which, there'll be a couple of adventurous spirits in there who think, or imagine, if you like, but there must be a better way. And they'll head over the hills and through the forest out to the other side till they find somewhere. And then they'll come back and say, "Come on, guys, there's a great place over here." And some of the herd will believe them, and they'll head off, and some of them won't. And maybe they'll die out. And the lions will have the same idea, if they've got any sense. Not so very different from humans.
Of course. Well, I just hope they've all developed a more all-encompassing, inclusive philosophy than humans have invented. I mean, we've come up with the stunning conclusion that they're all so special.
Everyone thinks they're special until they grow up.
Well, yes, I suppose so. If you think of a very small child, he or she is bound to think they're the most important being in the universe.
Yes, and if their parents don't let them think that for a tiny little while, they tend to grow up quite damaged. We all need to have a little time, just as we gods did back in the day, of thinking it was all about us. It couldn't last because it isn't all about us.
No, I see what you mean. Now, just a minute. Hey, do I know where I am here? We've been walking quite a way, and I haven't been paying attention. Are you trying to lead me astray? No, Helen. I would never do that. I'm trying to give you a bit of a nudge back on the path that you need to be on. Oh, God, not being a superhero again. Really? I'm afraid so. But why me? You were recommended. Goodbye. Not at liberty to say at the moment. But you must admit, you do have two particular qualities that make you the right person for the job. And what's that? You are kind and you are very open-minded. You're open to possibilities. Not a lot of humans are these days. Oh, well, I don't suppose there were ever a lot of them, but you are one of them. And you did not seem to have a lot else on your plate at the time. And it seemed like a really good fit. But I haven't been doing a very good job, have I? Oh, I wouldn't say that. You just had to come up against what we had to come up against. That just wishing for something out of the blue has these, what to call them? Unintended consequences. Well, that's helpful. I don't think. Sorry. Sorry doesn't cut it, I'm afraid. You lot started this. You've got to see it through. You can't abandon me. Oh, no, Helen. No, we're not abandoning you, I promise. Well, so what happens now? Can I go home? Get on with my life, such as it is? Of course you can. And I don't have to wear some crazy disguise? Well, what? I don't think you need to wear a crazy superhero disguise. But I do think you need to have a few different outfits, just so that you can move in different spheres. For instance? Well, first off, I thought you might like to try a Balenciaga ball gown adapted to fit you perfectly. Yeah, right. So that you can attend a grand fundraising event at the Savoy Hotel and create a minor disturbance that should, if we time it right, set something in motion that you have wished for.
Helen? Hello, it's Mischa. Oh, it's been such a challenge trying to find your new telephone number, but Susan gave it to me just before she left for Australia. I hope you don't mind.
Not at all. I'm so glad she did. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Well, I have had a very interesting time. I won't take up your time. I just wanted to tell you I've been in touch with those people from the Atlanta Institute for digitized, garbage collection. You remember?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the ones working on street litter collection machines that send it up to satellites. At least that's what they'd like to do.
Oh, yes. It sounded quite daft. Although not as daft as finding that stray dogs can do it already.
Indeed. And we know how that came about. Clever of you.
Oh, hardly. I had no idea I could pass on that particular skill, if you can call it that, to a dog, and that he would share it with his doggy community around the country, although, to be fair, it wasn't actually me. I was simply the means of access, apparently.
Well, it was all for the best, really.
Really? Piles of human litter floating around the earth, polluting space like we've polluted the oceans?
Well, yes, that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. I managed to get in touch with Professor Steinbeck at the Atlanta Institute, and we've come up with what we think is a good plan for dealing with all that litter that's been sent up into the upper atmosphere by the dogs. So, we've made some, I've been able to help them with some calculations, and they've decided to abandon the project for collecting the litter from the streets because the dogs seem to have figured out a way to do that. by howling it up into the sky in a very focused trajectory that does not interfere with the aeroplanes. And so the people at Atlanta are focusing on developing the satellite collection process where they will gather the litter that's up there and compress it into containers, which at least takes care of that problem. So, well done.
Well, I don't know about that. I wouldn't call it well done at all. It's a total mishmash. I don't know what possessed me.
Mishmash, Mischa, whatever. Well, something possessed you, that's for sure.
Yes, and I think I do know who or what it is.
Really? Don't tell me it's those ancient Greek gods.
All right, I won't tell you it's those ancient Greek gods.
But it is.
Well, there you go. And all the time we thought it was just a story.
Well, it is just a story, but it's one that seems to have some content to it. Am I right?
Well, you're not wrong. Anyway, thanks so much for doing that. That has taken a bit of weight off my mind.
Yes, but the thing is, I have to ask you, this only happening here in the United Kingdom so far. Do you have any way of getting it to happen around the world? Not all at once, of course, while the Atlantic people are getting themselves sorted. So I thought, I don't know if it's possible, but now that Susan is in Australia, I thought you might ask your friends, those Greeks bearing gifts, if they could arrange for Susan to spread the word, so to speak.
Oh, well, I'll see what I can do. One can but ask, I suppose. I must have mentioned I do have contacts on the African continent and in America.
So what do you say? We'd need to space it out in some way. Not everywhere at once, of course.
How about you let me know? Or get Dr. What's his name? Oh, Professor Larry. Get him to contact me and tell me when to, step it up again.
Yes, indeed. And you're well?
Oh, yes, I've been out of town while all the fuss died down. I'll be going home soon.
Then I would love to meet up for a coffee.
Oh, yes, that would be so good. Did you hear that?
I did.
Well, what do you think? Can we do it? Can we pass the gift to Susan in Australia and to Ade in Nigeria? See if they can get their local canine colleagues to shift some rubbish.
I don't see why not. Ask Hermes.
Oh, so Hermes is in charge of the dogs.
Of course.
But can she manage for them to be a bit more selective? Maybe just shift the plastic? That'd be good. Because a lot of the rubbish is still compostable. We don't want to waste that.
Good. Now that is a good thought. Now you are thinking positively.
I'm thinking positively? You could have done this in the first place. What were you thinking?
Well, it was Demeter's idea to get you involved. She just asked me to bring Hermes on board. The dogs was Hermes' idea.
Oh, come on. You don't get away with passing the buck. Happy? You will never know how much. How long now?
About an hour. I've asked John to go over about an hour to turn on your heating in the flat.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, and I gave him a casserole and some veggies to get you started.
Oh, thanks. That's very kind of you.
And the dog will meet you there? Why wouldn't he come in the car?
She. Girl dog.
Funny name for a girl dog.
Well, tell me a name for a girl dog that is not inherently funny.
Good point. But isn't it dangerous? Stray dog wandering all the way down to London?
I very much doubt she's travelling on foot or paws. She has winged sandals at her disposal,
Oh,
you know.
yes, I hadn't thought of that. Oh, well, I shan't worry about her then.
No. To be honest, I'm more concerned about this proposed fundraising masked ball at the Savoy Hotel that I'm supposed to be attending.
Oh, should be fun.
No, it's work. I have to be there for a reason. And I have to wear this particular ball gown.
Balenciaga, didn't you say? How are you going to get one of those?
Oh, Artemis has it all planned. She found it in a charity shop, and she's having it adjusted to fit me. How she's doing that without my actual body being present, I have no idea. But apparently it once belonged to the mother of the current Minister for Business and Trade. Well, John is terribly excited about it. He's applied for the tickets, and Deja is going with Shola. You'll have a lovely time. No, I'll be terrified. This is really important, and I am not equipped for things like this. What if I stuff it up? If you stuff it up, Mum, you will do so gloriously. I've no doubt about that. Reports are coming in of some exciting new discoveries regarding the new strain of poppy plants that mysteriously appeared a few months ago. Here's the World Service science reporter, Marilyn Johnson. Now, Marilyn, apparently this report comes from an article that's just been published in New Science magazine. Is that correct?
Yes, it is, Heather, and apparently it's a young science researcher based at the University of Essex who's been working with this new strain of the poppy plant, and the study that she's conducted into the effects of the new drugs that are now being produced from the poppy seeds seems to show that they are actually showing promise in slowing down the effects of dementia, dramatically slowing it down. Now this is something that the world has been waiting for a very long time, and I'm sure our listeners will be pleased to know that this study has been picked up by other laboratories and pharmaceutical companies all around the world, so we're hoping for some positive news.
Well, that sounds very promising. But is there any chance that these new drugs will be on the market or available on the National Health Service anytime soon?
Well, you see, that's the extraordinary thing. These studies are so remarkably positive, and it's all happening with the new technology developed by the people who worked on the coronavirus vaccines. So it appears that it could possibly be available in a very short space of time, maybe months rather than years.
And what can you tell us about this particular researcher who's made these remarkable discoveries?
Well, her name is Katia Vinzo. Apparently she's a PhD student who was, she dropped out of her studies in quite mysterious circumstances a couple of years ago, possibly as a result of Brexit, and then suddenly reappeared and took up where she left off with the encouragement of her supervisors, and she had the idea of investigating this particular strain of poppies, so they didn't see any harm, and they gave her her head. So it's just taken her a few months to do a lot of work, and she's managed to involve people all over the world in doing the research and trying this vaccine out. So she's been able to get government support to fund this worldwide project, and we're hoping it will be available soon. Watch this space, as they say.
Well, that's so nice to have a good news or potentially a good news story. Thank you very much, Marilyn Johnson, World Service Science Reporter. And now to the sports news. John, what have you got for us? Liverpool moving up the league again?
Hi, Jennifer. Come on in. I've still got this head cold, but I don't think I'm infectious anymore.
Oh, not to worry.
Coffee?
Thanks, Helen. Can I help?
Oh, coffee?
Who's this?
Oh, sorry. Are you okay with dogs? She's very friendly.
Oh, I love dogs. And she's beautiful. Hello? What's her name?
Hermes.
Goodness.
I know. Messenger of the gods, the trickster.
Oh, so nothing to do with the delivery service.
Oh, the one that changed its name but not its nature?
That one.
Well, no. Although Hermes is the god of transformations, maybe that's why they think they can get away with it.
Not in my book, they can't.
No. And I don't think Hermes is particularly happy about her name being taken in vain.
Quite right. You must be very cross. Where did you get her from?
A friend of mine asked me to give her a home for a while. I checked with the body corporate and they gave me permission. She's very well behaved.
Not a trickster, then?
Well, I wouldn't say that. She's got quite a few tricks up her sleeve, that one.
But she knows how to behave herself in the home and in company.
Well, let me know if you ever need me to take her for a walk. I'd be happy to do that.
Shall do. Here we are. Hello, Susie. Why are you calling me? Don't you know what time it is here in England?
Oh, I'm so sorry, Gran. I'm just so excited. I had to call you straight away and I completely forgot. It's not... What time is it?
About 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, right. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No. It's all right. Darling. Oh, just tell me how you're doing. What's happening?
Oh, no, it's not about me. It's just, did you hear the news? I was just listening to the ABC, and they had this story about the Poppy Research Project.
Yes, I heard it last week on the radio. Very interesting.
Oh, it's more than that, Gran. It's amazing and wonderful, and it's all down to you.
Me? What do you want about? I don't know her from a bar of soap.
Oh, no, but I do. Do you know, I was at school with her, and we were very good friends. We stayed friends after we went to different universities, and she was doing the science degree. But the thing is that, Gran, Gran, you won't believe it, but the reason Katia dropped out was because she's had a terrible accident, a car accident, and she became addicted to heroin, you know, with all the painkillers, pain relief that they gave her. And so she had to drop out, and she was in a shocking state, you know. She was homeless, and she was in trouble with the police, and, well, Charlie and I would try to help her, but then she would disappear all the time. It was awfully hard to track her down, but the thing is, what's happened is she's off the drugs because of you. Can you believe that? Gran, it's so wonderful. I'm just so proud of you, and oh, gosh, isn't it amazing?
Yes. So, I did do something good then?
Gran, of course you did. Better than good. It's wonderful. What are you going to do next?
Next? Oh, not sure, really. There is a plan to try something that's been set up by my Greek guides, if you know what I mean. Not at all sure how that'll turn out.
Worth a try.
Well, that's what they're saying. But I'm never sure how much I can trust them. You know, I've been spending these past few months thinking and trying not to think, trying to frame my thoughts and trying to think what would be a useful way to put these gifts or whatever you call them into some good use. And I just, Susie, I just can't think of anything. No, I'm stuck. No ideas.
Well, Gran, maybe you need to stop thinking about it. Just carry on and then let it pop into your head. Don't you think that's... isn't that how most creative people think? They go for a walk. Writers say that.
Does it work for you?
Me? What do you mean? I'm not a writer?
Oh, come off it, Susie. Of course you are. You write all the time. You write the most gorgeous letters. Thank you. I love getting the snail mail. And you have your mother's talent for storytelling, and you have your father's lovely, generous pragmatism. That's quite a good mixture. So I don't know what you're on about. Just write, okay?
Well, I suppose so. Thank you. That's very kind. Yes, that's what Cousin Georgie says too.
Well, she's no fool. You know, Joanna didn't make her chief of the editing department at Balliol Wilkinson for no good reason. She knows what she's talking about.
Yes.
Are you enjoying working with her?
Oh, yes, it's good fun. Yeah, she gives me things to read and expects me to report on them. You know, she's very hot on reports.
Well, you know how to do that. Isn't that what you've been doing at university for the past 5 years? Do it creatively. Have fun with it.
Well, that's what she says. She says I'm being too careful, afraid of hurting people's feelings. And I am afraid of... I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I don't want to say mean things.
Of course not. Oh, Susie, you haven't got a mean bone in your body. And you said that to me once. Or was it your mother? I get you mixed up sometimes. Hey, Forget I said that, please.
Said what?
Exactly. Darling, you say what you think. If it's too harsh, Georgie will help you to reframe it. And then after a while, you'll know how to reframe it yourself. Just take my advice and never hit send until you've slept on it.
Yes, that's what Georgie said.
Good. Can I get my coffee now? I've woken up enough and I feel the need.
Oh, yes, of course, Gran. I'll let you know. Sorry.
Nothing to be sorry about, darling. I'm very glad you called and very happy to hear about your friend.
Yes?
And Susie, before I forget.
Yes?
Susie, you like dogs, don't you?
Of course. Have you got one there? Oh, Gran, that's great.
Well, yes, it is, but the thing is, I want you to look out for one. Quite a large brown dog, floppy ears, big soppy eyes. She's going to be near you soon, organising the local strays to get into the litter clearing program. Just make sure she's fed and watered, okay? You don't have to take her in.
Oh, I don't mind at all. But who does she belong to?
Herself. Believe me, Susie, she can take care of herself. But just look out for her, okay?
Okay.
What? Oh, of course. Buy her a collar so that she looks legal, okay?
All right. But she's very welcome to stay with me. Oh, if Georgie agrees, of course.
Ask her, but don't worry if she says no. Hermes will be fine.
Hermes? That's an odd name for a dog, especially a girl dog. Very original.
Oh, she's that, believe me.
Can't wait to meet her.
She says, same back at you, Susie.
Really? You speak dog now, do you, Gran?
No, just Hermes. You'll see. She's quite the conversationalist.
Any idea when she'll turn up here?
Susie, literally any minute. Check your front door.
Really? Is this her?
Switch over to FaceTime.
Oh, hold on. There you go.
Yep, that's her.
But Gran, I hate to contradict you, but this is definitely a boy dog.
Now, why does that not surprise me? Put him on, please.
Right. Hang on a minute. Here, boy. Hermes. Gran wants a word.
Hi, Hermes. Thanks for doing this, okay? Oh, I'm going to miss you. Be careful, yeah? And you behave yourself around my granddaughter. Yes, you do. And I'm watching you in my own way. So just restrict your activities to working with the dogs of Australia. Stay in touch with Susie so that I can tell you where to go next. But you know exactly what I mean. Behave yourself. Scout's honour indeed. Okay, Susie?
Yes, Gran?
I'm off to get that coffee now. Take care. Keep in touch. Oh, Susie, let me know if you suddenly meet some wildly attractive young man when Hermes is not around. Know what I mean?
Really? Oh, Gran, how exciting!
No, Susie, not exciting. You check your Greek mythology history. Dangerous with many unpleasant repercussions. Tell him I said so.
No? Okay, Gran, I'll be careful.
Good. See ya. Love to Georgie. Tell her to give me a call soon.
Hello. Do you mind if I sit here?
Oh, no, not at all. Plenty of room.
Bit cold, eh?
I'm sorry?
I said it's a bit cold. I think so.
Oh, yes, it is cold. Yes, I should probably get moving.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have troubled you.
Oh, no, it's not you. You're very welcome to sit here. Not troubling me at all. I just don't do well if I let the cold get into my joints.
Of course, I understand.
Do you? Goodness, you're far too young to be able to know what that feels like.
Never assume, Helen. Isn't that what you usually say?
What, me? Do I? I suppose I do. Never assume. Of course, you've probably got older people in your life. Why not?
I do.
Just a minute. What did you call me?
Helen. That's your name.
Yes, it is, but how do you know?
I don't believe we've met. I'm sure I would remember. You are quite extraordinarily beautiful.
Thank you. So are you.
No, never was, never will be. Don't do that.
All right.
Have we met?
Oh, yes. Quite recently. I'm so disappointed you didn't remember me.
Why should I? Where did we meet? Huh? Tell me that. My memory's not so bad yet. What's your name?
Oh, if I tell you that, it won't be any fun. You have to guess.
I'm beginning to sense the flavour of you. You're a trickster.
Uh-oh.
Oh, my goodness. Hermes. Oh, I was right to warn Susie about you. Oh, is she all right?
Oh, absolutely wonderfully all right. Don't worry. I left her as I found her.
And the stray dogs of Australia, are they sending the litter skyward safely?
We had a bit of trouble at first, but I took the advice from some of the indigenous elders. They knew exactly where it should be aimed, and the dogs took it from there.
Good. Well done.
I think so.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Helen,
Yes?
are you all right? You seem sad.
Do I? Sorry.
Why are you apologizing? You're allowed to be sad.
Why are you asking me that? Is it my face? I can't help it if my face falls into sad-looking wrinkles.
No, not at all. Your face is fine. Nothing to worry about. Don't you remember? We spent a lot of time together up north, wandering over fields and through the woods. I got to know you pretty well.
Oh, my goodness, yes. I shared a lot with you, didn't I? And I had no idea you were storing it all away. If I'd known you weren't an ordinary, regular dog, I would never have spoken the way I did. Very tricky.
You haven't answered my question. Are you sad?
Yes. Yes, I am, as a matter of fact. But that doesn't mean I should spread it around.
Anything I can do?
Who knows? I've no idea what you're actually capable of, and I'm not sure I want to find out either.
Why not? Where's your spirit of adventure?
It's on holiday. Hopefully somewhere in the middle of the ocean. I've had quite enough adventure over the past few months to see me out, frankly.
Surely not. I thought you were enjoying yourself.
Oh, I was for a time. It was pretty exciting at first, because I thought I was going to save the world, but that was never going to happen.
You made a difference.
A very short-lived one. As I see it, that is the fate of superheroes. They can only save a few individuals at a time. Nobody can change humanity. It just can't be done.
No, it can't.
You must have tried.
Of course. It's our nature, no matter whether we are gods or mortals. We want everyone else to be like us. To see the world the way we see it. I wanted the world to be more of a playground. Fun, fun, fun. All the way. But it was not to be.
No. Most people just want to live a comfortable life.
Most people, yes. All the rest fall into two categories.
Only two?
For the purpose of my present argument, yes. The ones who want to make it a better place, and the ones who want to control it.
Oh, yes. But your lot did control it for a while, no?
No, Helen, it was all an illusion. We were never anything but a species of humanity who had certain powers that other species lacked. I can transform myself into different creatures. I can move through space at the speed of light. But I cannot move faster than the speed of light any more than you can.
Well, that's comforting. So why are you here?
Promised Susie I'd check up on you. She misses you.
Oh, I miss her so much.
Of course. So what are you going to do?
Me?
Yes, Helen. You. From everything I've heard, the only thing you don't do is sit around doing nothing. So what are you going to do?
Well, that's just the thing. I don't know. And I don't deal well with not knowing.
What would you like to do? I mean, what would you really, really like to do? Right now.
Right now? But that's just it. Don't you see? I've spent the past few months trying my hardest to suppress any urge to behave spontaneously in case it has unpleasant, even potentially dangerous side effects.
I see. Hummus?
What? Oh, that does look good. Have you got any...
Tortilla chips?
Oh, thanks. Where did you get this? It's really good.
Picked it up in Athens.
Really?
No, Marks and Sparks down the road.
Oh, well, that's good. No point wasting your air miles.
As if. These sandals do not wear out. Fortunately. So,
So what?
don't do that. You know what I'm asking. How do you find it, avoiding being spontaneous?
Have you ever tried it?
Not really. But you know, in spite of all the stories about me, I don't spend all of my time being ridiculously, spontaneously mischievous. You know that.
True.
And to be perfectly honest, I think you have as much of the trickster in your nature as I have.
Really? That much?
Well, perhaps I exaggerate a teeny tiny bit. But you have enough. You have to admit it.
I never thought about it. But I guess you could be right.
And your instincts are pretty solid. So, when you behave so spontaneously, it usually works out fine. You really need to trust yourself, Helen. You do.
Do I?
I know you're afraid just now. But look at what happened when Mary nearly ran under a speeding truck. You acted quickly, efficiently, and you saved her life.
With your help.
I just gave you a nudge. But I mean, imagine if you stopped to think about potential side effects at the time.
Oh my. Oh no, that just doesn't bear thinking about.
Well then, what would you like to do?
What, now?
No, Helen.
See those clouds up there?
Sure.
I'd like just one of them to rain itself ever so gently on Janie's garden.
Do it.
But how can I be sure?
Think it very clearly where and how and do it.
Okay. I'm thinking.
Do you see it?
Yes.
Now focus on the cloud and move it. Softly now. It doesn't take much puff. That's it. Nearly there. Now compress it round the edges. Squash it a little bit. A bit more. There. How about that?
Did it work? Could you see? If it actually rained, I can't tell with my eyes.
Looked like rain to me.
Felt good. Oh, I do hope it worked. Hello?
Mom, where are you?
In the park.
Is it raining?
Nope.
Well, it is here. First time in 3 weeks. And it only seems to be raining on my garden. Out the back.
Out the back? Oh, only out the back?
Yeah. Oh, did you do
Don't
that?
be daft.
And don't you tell lies. It's you, isn't it?
Well, I did have a bit of help. But yes, I did it.
Mom, you are my hero. Thank you.
She liked it?
She loved it. Thanks. That was fun.
Good. And now?
Oh, dear. Well, you know, I've got this masked ball thing coming up in a few weeks, and I still have no idea what I'm supposed to do. If you could shake up your sisters to give me some information, I'd be extremely grateful.
Would you like me to come with you?
Really? Can you do that? Oh, wouldn't we have to buy you a ticket?
Not at all. Nobody but you would know I was there.
Oh, you mean...
Just say the word. We can work it out. Why not? Spirit of adventure.
Oh, my goodness, you really are a trickster. Can I trust you?
Possibly. Only one way to find out.
Okay, I'm coming. Oh,
Oh, I don't want you on the phone. Why aren't you showing up on the computer? Oh, come on, Skypey, be nice. Oh, there you are. Georgie.
Honey, Helen.
Oh, how lovely to see you, Georgina. Looking wonderful. Being head of editing seems to suit you.
Oh, I don't know about that, Auntie Helen. Oh, I'm surviving, that's for sure.
Well, that's something. How's Sydney?
Pretty warm. Not on fire, though.
Well, that's something else altogether.
Oh, yeah, and your darling granddaughter, my little cousin, is being a huge help to me. Thank you for sharing her with me.
You're welcome. Well, sort of welcome, if you know what I mean. I miss her terribly. So she's behaving herself?
Of course. Oh, she's just lovely. And that beautiful dog with the weird name, Hermes. I ask you, what was that about?
Oh, you met him, did you? Was he at your place for long?
2 visits, 2 days each. Very well behaved, but it's all very mysterious. Oh, come on, Auntie Helen. You have to tell me. Is it anything to do with the dogs in Central Australia suddenly howling litter up into the sky? Aha, because that just started when the dog Hermes disappeared for 2 days. Is there a connection?
Well...
You know, we heard about it happening in the UK. We had journalists and scientists booking trips over there to check it out. But they couldn't figure it out, apparently. They all came home with their metaphorical tails between their legs, and then suddenly it's happening here.
So what was it about Susie's doggy pal that made you think he might have something to do with it?
It was the way he looked at me. Not really like a dog at all. I was creepy at first, but he kind of won me over.
Oh, yes, he does that.
So you do know. Come on.
Georgie, you must realise that if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Oh, yeah. So do it. Tell me and I'll die happy.
But I love you too much. I don't want to.
Oh, so it really is a super-duper dead secret. Are you in any danger?
No more than usual.
What do you mean?
Well, with the state of my inevitably failing body and mind, I'm in danger of bumping into things and slipping on stairs and chatting to total strangers in the park that I think I've recognised, but it's not them at all.
Oh, dear. I'm so sorry. I didn't realise. Are you really that old?
Believe it or not, Georgie, darling, I am. I put it off for as long as I could, but the days of elderliness have finally caught up with me.
What are you doing messing about with dangerous dogs then? Who got you into this?
Oh, Hermes isn't dangerous, Georgie. He's a sweetheart. Bit mischievous, but no, his days of messing with our lives for the sheer fun of it are way past. Now he's actually trying to help us to help ourselves.
By us, you mean humans?
Oh, not just humans. He and his family have realised, just as a few of us humans have realised, that life on Earth does not revolve around us, and that the more we mess with it, the worse off all living species are.
So he's not actually a dog, is he?
No, but you absolutely cannot tell anyone, and I mean anyone, understand?
Yes. Not even Joey?
Oh, especially not Joey. My super darling bestie and your boss, I know exactly what she would do if she knew. She would commission someone to write a book about it and have it on the bookshelves within minutes.
And that's a bad thing? Why? Wouldn't it make sense if people knew and they could help?
Well, you obviously have much more faith in the altruistic nature of humanity than I do. I have been advised to keep it secret to avoid the press getting hold of it.
But this is a good news story. Some magical beings helping to clean up the planet? God, who wouldn't want to know about that?
Anyone who's presently making money out of selling rubbish that's difficult to clean up by normal means. Anyone whose business model depends on more and more crap coming into our lives. Making things with built-in obsolescence. All the councils that fail to provide enough bins or bin collection... Oh, no, hang on, no, not them. They should be extremely happy that we're doing their job for them. But you know what I mean, Georgie. The press doesn't like good news stories. They don't sell as well as the bad ones.
Yes, I know, and I see what you mean. But I don't agree. You know people are as likely to click on cute and kind stories as they are on the bad and scary ones.
What, you mean positive clickbait?
Yeah.
Well, I hadn't thought of that. Oh, maybe you're right. I wonder if we could start a campaign, TikTok or something, flood it with positive stories of tidy streets, clean rivers.
Yes. Like when that bunch of people went up Mount Kosciuszko recently and they had litter pickers and bin bags cleaning up the paths. There was huge coverage on social media. Well, the mainstream media didn't cover it. Well, no, they were too busy banging on about wars and murders. But you're right. And social media is where people are looking these days. Why not take advantage of it?
Do you know, Georgie, I think you're onto something. I need to check it out with my team.
Your team? You have a team? Hey, Auntie Helen!
Oh, don't get overexcited. It's just your cousin Janie and her man Jonathan and Susie and Charlie.
Who's Charlie?
What? She hasn't even mentioned him. Long-time school friend, part-time boyfriend over here.
Okay. Anyone else?
Oh, yes, I've a professor of mathematics who keeps an eye on the science of it all with some of his sciencey colleagues.
Oh, is that Mischa?
Oh, she's mentioned him, has she?
Yeah. She was saying you'd met this amazing maths guy in the park and he was helping you with a project. I was hugely curious. She wouldn't go any further than that.
Ah, good for her.
Oh.
Well, he's now working with some people in the States who are going to collect the rubbish up in the sky and compress it into tiny satellite containers that they'll probably eventually do something like, I don't know, shoot them into the sun or something.
Oh, wow. You mean that's supposed to solve the Earth's dependence on landfill?
Absolutely not. The only thing that'll solve that will be us humans giving up our addiction to disposable stuff and reducing the amount of stuff being disposed of to a manageable amount.
Right. And how do you propose to get that happening?
I have no idea.
Oh.
Do you?
No, not at the moment.
No. Depressing, isn't it?
Yeah. Surely.
What? Surely what? Have you thought of something?
Well, I just thought if you can gather a team that helped you out with the canine litter moving logistics, perhaps you could get one with expertise in mobilising people for a good cause.
Oh, yes. Now, where would I find those kinds of people?
Charities, people who run them, philanthropic people.
Philanthropic? You mean rich people who donate to good causes?
Yeah, I guess so. Do you know any?
Not personally, but as it happens, I'm about to meet a few. Now, how did they know?
Sorry? Who? How did who know what?
The people who've been manipulating this whole crazy adventure all along.
And they are?
Nope, not yet. You have enough super confidential information to be hanging on to for the moment. I tell you what, Georgie, after I've consulted with the team, I'll get back to you to say whether or not you can tell Joey. We've got to do this right. Understand?
Okay.
Georgie?
Oh, yes, I understand. I was just thinking.
Yes?
Our marketing department, they know how to run campaigns on TikTok and other social media platforms. Just saying.
Georgie, you are an angel. Gotta go. I'll be in touch. Love to Susie and Joey.
All right. Yep. Love to you, Auntie Helen. Bye. Bye.
Now, let me get this straight. You, Helen Doherty, my oldest and dearest friend for almost 60 years, Miss Sensible Shoes herself, you are telling me that you have this superpower for blowing litter up off the streets and sending it out into outer space, and you managed to train dogs to do it too. So it was all down to you.
Not entirely down to me. I did have help from friends in high places.
High places as in Mount Olympus?
Believe it or not, Joey, yes.
And you assure me that you have not totally lost your marbles.
I know it sounds like it, and sometimes it feels like it.
And the reason I haven't been able to contact you lately is because you've been hanging out in a safe house in the wilds of Middle England to avoid the press.
Northern England, actually.
Whatever, you did all of this, and you couldn't tell me.
Oh, Joey, I am so sorry. I would have if I could, but they thought it wasn't safe for anybody who knew about it. Joey, you know what the paparazzi are like.
Oh, I do, that is for sure. So you were protecting me.
Believe it or not, I thought I was.
Okay, I take your point. I can see that, and I'm grateful. To be honest, I don't think I would have taken kindly to being stalked by those paparazzi, so thank you.
You're welcome.
So, what's changed?
Well, what's changed is that people generally seem to have accepted the way things are now, so it's no longer newsworthy. But the next stage is going to be different, very different. It'll require a lot of publicity. It has to be done right, done good. Well, I don't know, what is the correct grammar there?
You are trying to save the planet and use the correct grammar? You are nothing if not ambitious, my darling.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, Joey, I'm just plodding along, trying to keep my head above water in all the melee of craziness that surrounds me at the moment.
Well, I agree. I don't know that I would have coped with having a bunch of immortal gods turning up on my doorstep with quite the equanimity that you seem to have managed.
Well, I did have Janie on hand to keep me somewhat grounded. And it did take a while to figure out what was going on exactly. But I think, first it was just a huge lark, a bit of fun. Sending rubbish into outer space and then finding that I could pass it on to stray dogs. But things started to go wrong and I realised how dangerous it was. And then it seemed all I had to do was wish for something and it happened. Before I could even think it through, make sure it was actually something worth pursuing.
That must have been quite a challenge, because you do like to consider things very thoroughly, as I recall.
Yes, I do. But then we realised that mostly it had something to do with nature, life, the earth itself, wanting to be cleaned up. And it wasn't keen on humans using its produce for nefarious purposes.
Oh, you mean the drugs from the poppies?
Exactly. So we figured out there must be some connection, and the names of those two people who approached me in the first place, Dio and Sephi, we thought Demeter, goddess of nature, her daughter Persephone, who marries Hades and brings the spring back every year when she comes home to her mother for half the year. And Susie's very odd professor, Le Penseur, that just happens to be the French version of Hades.
I would not have thought of that. You were always more interested in mythology, those kinds of stories, weren't you?
True, but it wasn't until I was able to confront Artemis that I was able to really put it all together.
I still don't understand why they couldn't just do it all for themselves. Why did they need to involve you?
Well, because their powers are severely limited these days. All they can do is what certain humans ask of them. They figured out that I cared enough about the environment to get some kind of a campaign kick-started. So they helped me to blow the litter up, and then Hermes came along to organise the dogs to help out safely, and now
they've got something special lined up that they want you to do for them.
Well, not quite. They want to help me to get something to happen that I want to happen. They can't do the thing, but they can put on a show to get people to pay attention to me.
Oh, so that's why you want the press involved now.
Exactly. We need to get action from the powers that be, and I'm pretty sure they won't get involved unless I can get them to commit to it publicly.
Of course, because politicians are only afraid of one thing.
Yes, losing power. So they need the voting public to be on their side, and the press has a lot of influence.
Well, they do, but social media seems to have even more these
Exactly,
days.
And Georgie is going to get the ball rolling on that side.
So I gather.
Good evening, this is the World Service, and welcome to Top Notch with Heather Smith, the current affairs programme which brings you the latest news about people and events which influence or have the potential to influence our daily lives. This week we'll be announcing, live on air, the nominations for the UK Environmental Philanthropist of the Year Awards. And on the line, waiting to discuss them with me, is Lord Peter Cage, Chair of the Environmental Philanthropy Research Group. Good evening, Peter, and welcome.
Good evening, Heather. Nice to be here.
Now, it is a very short list this year, isn't it? Does this mean there hasn't been as much environmental philanthropy in the UK, or is there another reason?
Well, I wouldn't say there has been less philanthropic action to do with the environment during the past year. That has stayed about level for the past 10 years or so. No, it's just there were 3 nominations that stood out, head and shoulders above the rest, which was quite unusual.
I see. Well, let's get straight to it. Who are the 3 nominees on the list?
Well, now, this is in no particular order, of course, because we won't know who the actual winner of the award is until the announcement at the gala in a couple of weeks. So I'll read them out in reverse alphabetical order, just to be different.
Nice idea. Off you go.
Well, so we have the Zoological Society for the Protection of Endangered Species for their work with, you guessed it, endangered species. They have donated millions of pounds to support small zoos around the country who are working to restore populations of endangered native species.
Well, that is quite remarkable. What are some of these species that are struggling to survive at the moment?
Well, my favourite is the stunningly beautiful Mazarine blue butterfly. It is actually officially extinct in the British Isles, but there is a small community near the Devon coast that is being watched over by a local team of amateur lepidopterists.
How exciting!
Well, I think so. Next, we have the Society for the Protection of Fossil Beaches.
I'm sorry, fossil beaches?
Yes, these are designated sites around the country where fossils are known to be quite common. Sadly, though, with climate change, they are being eroded at a great rate. So the SPFB have been funding fossil hunters to get to them and collect what they can before they are lost to us forever.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, yes, of course. That is going to be a disaster.
Yes. And finally, we have the British Nigerian Research Group for their work researching the plant species that have been brought to the UK over the past 200 years, which are now extinct on the African continent. There are departments in several universities who have benefited from the funding provided by the BNR group, and they've been able to source several species back to Nigeria, Ghana and Kenya just this year. Very promising work happening in that area.
Well, now that is something I just wouldn't have known. How extraordinary, and how wonderful that people are raising funds and donating them to such amazingly good causes.
I couldn't agree more, and of course, the award will be presented by the Secretary of State for the Environment at the gala dinner.
Oh, the Secretary of State for the Environment. Well, lovely. Now, are you going to be there yourself?
Of course I'm going.
Oh, well, I look forward to hearing your report back after the event. Thank you, Lord Peter Cage.
Thank you.
So your lovely Steve is actually talking about selling the yacht?
More than talking about it, my love. He's actually put an advert up at the sailing club, and he has had a couple of offers.
And what does he plan to do with himself then?
Hang around the flat, annoying me.
No, come on, you'll love it. No more lonely weekends, being the sailor's widow, staring out over the horizon looking for red sails in the sunset.
Well, there is that. It might, just might be less stressful. Time will tell.
Well, you are the one with the power. Put him to work. Get him to research your
That
trip.
reminds me. Speaking of power, there's something I'm not sure I understand about these Greek gods. You say they don't have the power to change things as they wish themselves.
Apparently not.
All they can do is wait for you to want something, and then they can help it to happen.
Something like that.
So you are the one with the power.
How do you mean?
You are the one who decides what is to be done. They have to do what you want, so you have the power. You control them. Yes?
No,
No, I don't think
well,
so.
you tell me how it's different. That's how I see it. Have you left anything out?
Don't think so, but I've never thought of it like that.
Well, you better start thinking of it like that, my love, because that is certainly how it seems to me. You are more powerful than the gods. You are the superheroine.
Yikes!
You said it. Yikes indeed.
Oh, Joey.
It's Janie. We're just pulling in now, so are you ready?
Oh, Janie, yes, I'm almost ready. I just can't pull the flipping zip up at the back here, but that's all it needs. Just come on up. I'll leave the door. Just come on in and that's all it needs. Zip me up and off we go.
All right, see you soon.
Oh, Mom, your hair. It's so different. I hardly recognize you. And the dress. Oh, you look stunning. Who, me? It's ridiculous. What is this, you know? Fancy me wearing this fabulous. Still have no idea what it's all about. Who or what? Oh, I tell you one thing. Remember that woman, you know, I had a coffee with when I was up in Lancashire?
Yes, I do. Her name was Mary.
Yes, well, I found out who she is. She's Mary Hadfield.
What? You mean the Minister for Climate Change?
Yes, that's her. Yeah.
Oh, and how did you find out?
Well, she was on the One Show on telly last night. They were promoting this environmental philanthropy awards thingy that we're going to. She's going to be there. What would you say, coincidence or what?
Yes, indeed. And, oh, what a beautiful brooch. Do you know what it is?
Oh, yes, it's a Mazarine blue butterfly. Pretty much extinct in this country.
Oh, that's a shame. It's lovely. Looks so real. Right, well, we'd better get moving. Now, where is Hermes? I thought you said he was coming with you. Does he have a ticket? Does he need a lift?
Oh, you could say that. But it's all been arranged. Don't worry about it.
Oh, all right then. Well, John's downstairs waiting for us, so come on, you go ahead. I'll lock up.
Thank you, darling. I've nowhere to put the keys anyway.
And now we go over to our London reporter, Josie Harkins, who's waiting to see the guests arriving at the Savoy Hotel for the 2023 Environmental Philanthropist of the Year Awards. Are they starting to arrive yet, Josie?
Yes, Heather, the limousines are lining up and the first guests are beginning to make their way into the beautiful foyer here at the Savoy.
Now, there's been a terrific lot of action over on social media about this event, hasn't there, Josie? Most of the government's cabinet ministers are going to be there.
Yes, apparently this award is something dear to their hearts. But there is also a lot of talk about some mysterious surprise guests with potentially superhuman connections.
Oh, yes, I've seen that. Well, it's been hard to avoid these past few days, hasn't it?
There is a more than usually high security presence here. I think the hotel are taking precautions. I guess they aren't taking reports of supernatural activism all that seriously.
That's understandable.
Oh, I can see Mr. Deja Gomez, chair of the British Nigerian Research Group, arriving with his wife, Shola. Excuse me, Mr. Gomez, Josie Harkins, BBC World Service. Congratulations on the nomination. You must be pleased to have your work with the Trust recognised.
Yes, indeed. It is an honour to be nominated. We've all been working very hard to ensure that these indigenous African plant species are returned to their country of origin. Excuse me. Nice to talk to you.
Thank you. And here's the Secretary of State for Climate Change, and also the Deputy Chair of the Conservative Country Women's Council, Mary Hatfield. Good evening, Miss Hatfield. Josie Harkins, BBC World Service. Are you looking forward to handing out the award this evening?
Good evening, Josie. Yes, it's going to be a huge pleasure. We have 3 very worthy nominees, all demonstrating astonishing generosity in funding these research programmes.
And a lot of your fellow Conservative county women are attending as well. Some of them the wives of cabinet ministers. So this is a pretty high-powered gathering this evening. Are you concerned at all about the report of potential interference in the event of superhuman beings?
Not in the slightest. They're all very welcome if they'd like to join us in honouring these generous philanthropists. Oh, Tanya, lovely to see you. How was the flight? You head on in, Mom. I won't be long. Righto.
Hello, Josie Harkins, BBC World Service. You're here for the ceremony?
Yes.
And do you have a favourite?
Favourite? What for?
For the award, who do you think will win?
Well, hopefully the planet. Oh, so you're Josie Harkins?
Yes. And you are?
Oh, somebody else. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. You too.
I must say you're looking very glamorous tonight.
Thank you. And congratulations on the nomination for your charity.
Yes, it's quite a thrill just to be nominated. To have the trust work acknowledged, you know.
What do you reckon your chances are?
Oh, 1 in 3, I'd say.
Yes, of course. It's all pretty wonderful, the work of all three of the organisations.
I quite fancy the fossil beaches people for the win myself. So unusual and timely.
But then so is your work.
I know.
Excuse me. I'm sorry to interrupt. I do hope you don't think I'm rude, but I have to ask, where did you get that dress? Oh, it was a gift from some friends.
Good evening, Mary.
Did you? Oh, sorry. I was so taken with seeing my mother's ball gown, I didn't realise it was you. Congratulations on the nomination.
Thank you. May I introduce my friend Helen Doherty?
Helen? Oh, Helen. Oh, I didn't recognise you. I was so taken up with the dress. You look so different. It's me, Mary, from Lancashire. Yes, I remember you. Quite recovered? Oh, yes, I bounced back pretty easily.
Oh, you two have met already.
Helen saved my life. Well, somehow she came to my rescue just after I almost had a fatal accident. But please, the
Helen.
dress. Look, it was a gift. Some friends. They found it in a charity shop and decided I should wear it here for this special event. Well, I'm glad you did. It was my mother's. It's wonderful to see it again after all these years. We lost track of it after she died, and her things got moved around and packed away. She wore it to her coming out ball. Oh, she was a debutante. How wonderful. Do they still do that? Oh, yes, indeed. The Queen Charlotte's Ball every year. And oh, what a beautiful butterfly brooch. Mazarine blue, isn't it? So realistic. Yes. Oh, I'd better go. Enjoy your evening.
Let's find our table, shall we?
Here you are, Mom. Champagne.
Oh, lovely.
Have you noticed the statues? Aren't they interesting? Any idea who they are?
I suspect they are representative of the Greek pantheon, from ancient Greek mythology.
Really? Well, that's interesting. Isn't it, Mom?
What? Oh, yes, the statues.
Are they always here in the dining room?
No, I believe it was something the event consultants came up with. They thought it would make an interesting contribution to the evening.
Quite a coincidence, don't you think, Mom?
Uh-huh.
How do you mean, Janie?
Oh, I was just thinking about the chatter on social media about a superhuman intervention in the awards ceremony. Do you know which of the gods they are?
I assume the gentleman with the three-headed dog would be Hades with Cerberus.
Yes, and the woman with the young girl is Demeter with Persephone.
But no Hermes. Mom, shouldn't he be there too? Oh, did you see that?
What?
The other one with the bow and arrow. She winked at me.
I didn't see that.
Nor me. You must have imagined it.
I don't think so. Oh, there's John.
I see what you mean, Janie. She almost seems to be looking around. What an amazing sculpture. So realistic.
Hello, everyone. Sorry it took so long. Parking, eh? Look, I'll just get a drink. Can I get anyone anything?
We're fine, thank you, darling. You'd better hurry, they're starting to serve the food. Where's Shola?
She's catching up with some friends over there.
Good evening. Oh, thank you. That's very kind. Right then. Good evening and welcome to this, the 10th annual UK Philanthropist of the Year Award. I do hope you enjoyed the meal and you've all been very patient. But now I'd like to invite the Right Honourable Jonas Silledy, Secretary of State for the Environment and Food Production, to introduce the nominees.
Oh, Lord, not him.
Jonathan.
Well.
I agree with Jonathan. This is going to be interesting.
This is a good time. I just had to call up to see how it all went.
Oh, was it not on the TV in Australia?
No, all we've heard is what the news programs are saying. There was a bit of a kerfuffle.
You could say that.
Okay, well, spill the beans.
Well, it was interesting, as they say in the classics. We arrived at the hotel. The press were all there. Joey and Georgie did a great job. There were news reporters and the TV vans all waiting. And when we got inside, would you believe it? The Greek gods were all lined up pretending to be statues. Hysterical. And Jonathan, your dad, had organised a table for us all. So there we were, enjoying the lovely meal. And then they announced the nominations for the awards. And
Oh, Dad's boss, Deja Gomez.
Absolutely. Well, he'd guessed it right. It went to the Fossil Beaches people. And then there was the Secretary of State for the Environment and Food Production. He who had actually cut the funding to the climate change research groups, up there at the mic, bold as brass, banging on about what wonderful things the government is doing and how much money they've spent on saving the planet, how amazing it all was. Nothing to do with the philanthropic work we were supposed to be there to celebrate. And I'm getting a bit hot under the collar thinking, you effing hypocrite.
Gran!
Sorry, not sorry. I was so angry. And of course, I wasn't just thinking it, I'd said it out loud. And everyone turned to look at me and I was deeply embarrassed. Anyway, the Secretary of State for talking rubbish carries on with his wonderful speech making about how his government was tackling climate change, as if. But Mary comes down to our table and she says, What is it, Helen? And I say, But Mary, he's talking rubbish. He's not even telling the truth. He's just making it up as he goes along.
I know. We all know. But there's nothing I can do about it. It's more than my job's worth. But you could say something.
Really?
Yes. Do it, Mom.
Go on, Helen. You'll be fine.
Please, Helen, do it.
Go on, Helen.
But I don't know what to say.
Yes, you do, Helen. Trust yourself. Be spontaneous. Use your trickster nature. Believe in yourself.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, wow, Gran.
And Susie, Hermes keeps whispering to me, trust yourself.
But wasn't he one of the statues?
No, that's the thing. He'd transformed himself into the butterfly on my shoulder that everyone thinks is a brooch. So then Mary grabs my hand and starts to drag me up towards the podium, and all the security guys suddenly appear, and they're about to grab hold of me.
No.
Yes, but Hermes whispers in my ear, get rid of them. So I just blew, just a little puff of air, and they fell backwards. And Mary and I kept going, and the government minister's going, no, you can't come up here. This is me. I'm giving my speech. Where's security? So I blew him away. Oh, Susie, it was so much fun. And then, before I could say a word, the security guys are all up again and starting to approach. So Hermes flies off my shoulder in his butterfly form, transforms himself into a very angry, scary hyena, and just dances around them and growls, and they're all going, who let the dogs in? And they couldn't even tell the difference between a dog and a hyena. And the big boss for talking garbage, he's flat on his bottom at the side of the stage. So Mary takes the microphone and hands it to me. And I say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, not sorry if you know what I mean, but this gentleman The things he's saying. It's nothing but icing. Look, I know I'm talking as much nonsense as he is, but the thing is, we all know we've got a problem. We know the Earth can't continue to carry all the rubbish that we keep piling onto it. And landfill, we've probably got more landfill spaces now creating ghastly gases than we have housing estates for people on low incomes. And it's unsustainable and it's outrageous. And this is supposed to be a civilized society. What is civilized about the way we're living at the moment, where built-in obsolescence is a thing? Where children can drop litter but they're not allowed to pick it up? Where we let people who have enough money to do whatever they want just do whatever they want, and our government sits back and boasts about it. Now, I don't want to slander anybody, but we know that there is corruption. We know it's there.
True.
What's wrong with the press? Why aren't they investigating? Oh yes, I know you're here. I know the press is here. I arranged for you to be here. Look, I am not a politician or an organizer. I write poetry and I edit books, at least I used to. But I do know something about nature, just as this beautiful goddess Demeter over there, goddess of nature, and her beautiful daughter Persephone, who represents the spring that comes to delight us every year. They know about it. They knew about it aeons before we woke up to it, but by golly, we have to wake up to it. We have to address it. So, what do you want? What do I want? I'll tell you what I want. What I really, really want. Sorry to plagiarize, but I want a working party that actually works, of climate scientists and biologists and farmers and food suppliers and the makers and purveyors of plastics and these fabulous philanthropists. And I want them to come up with a plan. And I'd lock them in a room until they did if I had my way. But okay, yes, a plan to regulate the way we use our waste. If we didn't have regulations for the past 20, 30, 40, 60,000 years, what kind of a society do you think we'd be living in? We wouldn't. Because we wouldn't be alive, because that's what our ancestors figured out. We had to build systems of governance to keep ourselves reasonably safe, because some people are greedy, and some people are addicted to power. But we can't just let them have it. We have to stand up for ourselves. And all you politicians can do is sit around protecting your little plans, because you invented it.
Oh, Gran, good for you. Oh, that is just amazing.
Anyway, Susie, darling, I did bang on.
Oh, but what about the gods and goddesses? They said something on the news about statues coming to life.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, the thing is, as I was talking, I didn't realise until I stopped for breath, but the gods had started moving in so slowly that nobody noticed that they were moving. It was like a Japanese Buto performance until they were actually moving up the stairs. And then, of course, everyone could see them. It's all on camera. You want to check your TV? Oh, no, probably more on YouTube or TikTok. But yes, they moved so slowly, still pretending to be statues, creeping up the stairs until they formed a semicircle around Mary and me. And the place was deadly quiet. And so then I waited until they were all up there behind me. Well, except for Hermes, because Hermes, very clearly, in front of everybody, transformed himself from the hyena back to the butterfly and came back and settled on my shoulder. And oh, it was the most beautiful thing to see. Now, you probably all think this is a trick, a magic trick. Greek gods? They never existed, did they? Well, have I got news for you. How could they cancel that, by the way? No, those gods did exist, and they do exist, and they're here with us tonight. They never left. They've been waiting and despairing at what we mortal humans have been doing. They know that we can't stop the progress of climate change unless we clean up our mess. And the thing is, you know, and I know, That one person putting out the recycling to be collected by the council doesn't make a huge difference to the whole catastrophe that we've got marching on. But actually, you'd be surprised at how much power each of us actually does have. We've all got our own talents, every single one of us. If you just look for it, you do and you can make a difference, no matter how small. Some of you people in this room, you have actual power, you have control, or you have the ability to speak to people in power and you know who they are, and we know who you are. So we, my friends and I, here, we will be holding you to account. You've got 6 months to actually make sure that things are put in place. You have to change laws, do it. You have to create regulations, do it. Look, goodness sake, your predecessors managed to get us all to wear seatbelts, stop us all, protect our children from having disgusting, terrible head injuries. You managed to outlaw, in most of the world anyway, those horrible CFC gases that were destroying the ozone layer. You know it can be done. It's all about political will, power. And some of you have worked long and hard to get that power. So how about this? You have 6 months starting now. I don't believe in building tension. There's enough tension in this room already, not to mention the planet. 6 months to get it happening. Projects funded, boots on the ground. And not just here, obviously, but all over the world. You have to find ways to fund those countries that can't afford to do it for themselves. You have 6 months to persuade the leaders of those countries that their people are crying out for it. You have 6 months to support the people in those countries, to make sure their governments know that that's what they want. And of course it's what they want. They want a comfortable life. We all do. And it doesn't matter how much money you're stashing away. It's not going to make a blind bit of difference to the problems. When the oceans rise, droughts, bushfires, not one bit of difference. So get together and sort yourselves out. Oh, and by the way, if you do your very best and it still doesn't work, believe you me, you won't go down in history for having failed, because there won't be any histories to tell about it. You know this, you've been told before, and you know I'm not exaggerating. So, 6 months to sort it out, while the rest of us all around the world, we will hold you to account. Right, now, hang on, just a minute. Demeter, please, come over here. Come on. Here she is, everybody. The metaphor, in person. Mother Nature herself, the goddess Demeter, also known as Ceres.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you, everybody. Please remember this, please. The earth will restore itself with or without humanity. But it will happen much faster if you all clean up the mess you have made first. We will do what we can to help you, but you must do it. Thank you. Good night. Thank you. That's just wonderful. But how did you get out of there? They said on the news you just disappeared, along with the gods and goddesses.
Oh, Artemis had it all planned. She took Mary and me into an anteroom by the kitchen. She had a change of clothes for me, dungarees, would you believe, and a baseball cap. So I handed the ball gown over to Mary. She didn't want to but I said, look, I'll never wear it again, Mary. I assure you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind.
Oh, and don't forget your magic brooch. Oh, no. Thank you. Goodbye, my friend.
Au revoir for now, Helen. And well done. Spontaneity forever. You know I'm right.
Here you are, Artemis. Thank you, Helen. I'll take him. Now, down this corridor, there is a car waiting for you. You will be taken to a safe place
Again?
Oh, just a couple of days. And then...
What, the next adventure?
That, my dear Helen, is entirely up to you. Now, here's your escort. Goodbye. Take care.
Oh, hiya, Mrs. D. You ready to go? Are you hungry? We've got snacks in the car. And we can stop somewhere for coffee if you like.
Rene? What on earth? Oh, never mind. Lead on, young man. Coffee? I love it.
How's your Auntie Jean and Uncle Gary?
Oh, they're all good, thanks. And before you ask, school is good too. I'm on a break.
And there you have it. The end of Season 7, which is part 2 of the Chosen One series, if you like, with part 3 coming up in a week or two. The cast is as follows. Marta and Josie are played by Frances Broudie Oldridge. Hermes the dog and Hermes in the flesh, so to speak, as well as Rene, is played by Christopher McDougall. Mischa is played by Ira Seidenstein. Georgie is played by Allana Noyes. Peter by Mike Rimmer. Deja by Tayo Aluko. Jonathan by John Warner. And everyone else by me, Flloyd Kennedy. Now, if you've made it this far, I'm guessing that you quite possibly have been enjoying going along for the ride with Helen. And if so, well, you know how it works by now. You need to spread the word. Just tell your mates, tell your friends, tell your family that it's worth listening to, and that would please me no end. It's it's quite a bit of work putting this all together. I enjoy doing it, but I'd also really enjoy it if I had a slightly bigger audience. And of course, if you'd like to donate, you can do that with buymeacoffee.com/amiolyet, or join the patrons over at patreon.com/amiolyet. Anything you care to leave under the plate would be gratefully acknowledged, as we used to say in the olden days. Okay, until we meet again, stay safe.